championship, but always wanted to fight this man, very much a hero in Long Island, and has built himself up for the fight at 17 stone. And there's the rundown then. Same age, which probably is the only comparison you could make with them. 14 stone, 12 3/4 Spinks came in. And it's about 3 pounds heavier than when he fought Larry Holmes.
We're both giving your instructions in the dressing room. If there are no questions, both these touch gloves. Both these touch gloves. Come on, fellas. Good luck to both of you.
Frank Cappuccino, just making them touch gloves, trying to be pretend to be friendly, but certainly the paying customers won't want that. So no official championship at stake. They've tried to call this the People's Championship. And the man who invented that title is actually Butch Lewis, promoter, manager of Michael Spinks. And I'm sure he'll be making more noise than anybody in the crowd. Right in the front row there in a white suit. We'll see him later, I'm sure. So now, can Gerry, Cooney really get rid of some of that disgraceful ring rust, really? One fight in 18 months now, and that was only 86 seconds. But he really had a blinder of a fight with Larry Holmes. He probably wasn't ready for Holmes at that stage. And I thought he really did well until the 13th round. And now he's coming out, going to look for the smaller man of the two. Can you imagine? We're talking about somebody 14, 12 3/4 as being small now in the fight game. The referee looks a bit hesitant to me, Jim. Frank Cappuccino, he doesn't want to get in the middle of this lot.
Because obviously Cooney wants to get close as soon as he possibly can. We're going to see some rough stuff.
So left hook is the favourite punch now of Cooney. I saw him in London and even in Leeds when he was 17 years old and winning for the United States, boxing for the New York Recreation Department as an amateur. And as he said, I was knock-kneed and had acne those days, but he's a very powerful puncher. But Michael Spinks is one of the most difficult and frustrating opponents you could be in with. Always looks unbalanced, but has actually got good reflexes and probably hits a bit harder than we think. Certainly gave Larry Holmes all the trouble he could handle. I wondered whether he deserved the decision, certainly in the second fight. But, that was the International Boxing Federation Championship, and that was taken away from him with a dispute because he didn't want to fight Mike Tyson right away. At least his management didn't. I notice this mobility of Spinks now. He tries to use the ring, moving around, trying to frustrate Cooney. Cooney likes standing targets all the time, and he really destroys those, as he did with Ken Norton. Well, it's a bit early, Jim, but it's not a bad start by Cooney, really. He's going looking for Spinks, isn't he?
Yeah, well, I thought Cooney would have taken a few rounds to get into punching range, but already his left hand has been getting through. His punches look a little bit cumbersome at the moment, but the left hand to the body was a bit tasty there.
He's a little bit, in technical terms, one-handed, Cooney. He concentrates a bit too much on the left hand. 6'7". If he became champion of the world, he would be the tallest in history. Just Willard was 6'6 1/4". So the countdown clock then for the end of the first round. And that's the tactics of Spinks, the sneak stuff. He's clever at that. Takes his time. He's one bear of a man, there's no doubt about that, Gerry Cooney.
You gotta watch the jab. Gotta watch the jab. Put that right hand overhead, all right? When the jab once, you gotta move in twice, and he's gonna bend down.
Well, I don't know whether we can really accept all those. The punch stack people just near us now, they punched them up trying to get some accuracy in those, but the referee and judges don't count the punches, it's the overall picture. Into round two. Trainer Victor Valley there just reminding Cooney, and well he might, to watch the left-hand jab that's coming in from Spinks. He uses that as a kind of diversion while he's making up his mind what he's going to do with the right-hand punch. Cooney wants to try and take him out soon because the distance is against him, I'm sure of that. 3 fights in 5 years from Alaska to San Francisco and really not beating too much. What a difficult man to fight, Spinks, Jim, isn't he?
Yeah, he's very frustrating. He knows what he has to do to beat these heavyweights, and He's really perfecting it, keeping them off balance. He's taking that little half step back every time Cooney comes towards him. And Cooney's finding it difficult to get the full power into his punches.
Although he's strapped around the right knee there, Spinks, he's had a bit of a problem with that ligament. It doesn't cut his speed down at all. Very awkward indeed to nail, and is so long since he lost the decision back in '76 in Moscow as an amateur against Riskiev. And as they say, that was a little bit of an iffy verdict. And then he stopped Riskiev in the Olympic Games in Montreal, so he got revenge. That's really a good record. That cannot be knocked. Cooney's got to get busier now and unload some punches. Take a few chances, really, because all his punches must be damaging at 17 stone. Cooney's left jab's a bit handy, Jim. You'd think he'd be using it a bit harder than that.
Yeah, well, I think Cooney's going to have to walk through everything that Spinks has got. It's no good trying to stand off and throw the jabs. Spinks is faster, and as you can see, he's winning the battle of the jabs at the moment. Cooney's jabs are probably that bit stronger, but Spinks is sharper and landing cleanly on target more often.
See, now he changed his body style as well. He pushes the right hand forward a bit, not directly southpaw, but turns the body, all the lateral movement, and he knows how to spoil inside as well, Michael Spinks. Remember, former light heavyweight champion of the world, 10 successful defences. What a good champion he's been. So coming up from 12 stone 7 to nearly 15 stone now, he's really made the transformation. So it's a good burst of punches now as we come up to the end of the second. Mainly from Spinks now. You watch, he times himself well. He sort of carries a clock, I think, somewhere in his head. There it is. But Cooney wants to stand and trade with him, and they've got to dive in at the bell. That time the referee had to take a chance. The unbeaten record, 75-year-old Eddie Futch in there with him, one of the great wise men of the game. And now in replay, this is the flurry, Jim, at the end of the round.
Yeah, well, Spinks is standing his ground a lot more than I expected him to do. I thought he would have been backpedaling for the first half dozen rounds at least before he stood his ground and got to work. But you can see he's quite happy in there, letting the punches go and trying to outgun Cooney.
A little bit of mark around the right eye already there, Mike Spinks. So Eddie Futch and co have got to work on that. He's got experience in his corner, and he's had plenty as well. Into the third. So now let's see now if Spinks is going to start moving up just a little bit in gear. He did this with Larry Holmes. He dwelled at the start. And it's the big swipes now from Cooney. So there's the man in the white suit, as I predicted. There he is again, Butch Lewis. Doesn't wear a shirt. The promoter does his shirt on every show and loses it. But manages Michael Spinks, and he's almost refereeing this fight with some of the shouting that's going on. If you're the other man's corner, Jim, in Cooney, how do you tell him to go in and fight a moving man like this? He's so difficult to nail, and when you do, he absorbs the punch well.
Yep, and Spinks is becoming confident now because it's as though he can see Cooney's punches coming. He's not the least bit troubled. I thought because of the power he had in front of him, he would be really thinking about defence all the time. But he looks quite happy, and he's taking a few chances.
So he lays in with that double punch now. He's square when he throws them, Mike Spinks, but he's very accurate with them. And as I said, I think we underestimate his punch power a little bit. It's true he didn't drop Larry Holmes, but he hasn't completely lost the punch coming up from light heavyweight to heavy. Great waste of talent in many ways with Gerry Cooney, Jim, which only to have been a bit more active against good opposition.
Yeah, I don't think he ever got over the Larry Holmes defeat because he had a lot of kind of mental problems after that. and his life seemed to go off the rails, and it's a question again, what kind of condition has he got himself in now? Spinks has been active all through the years, he's a real pro, and the pace they're going at, they're both going to have to be in good shape.
Come on, get him loose.
Again, they got the American referees, they seem to hate to say the word break. They're saying let him loose, and he talks to them a lot. It's surprising really for a 17-stone fighter, Jim, that he doesn't bully more, Cooney. He doesn't push and shove too much.
Well, he's getting himself into punching distance okay, but he's not really bullying Spinks. He has to get that little bit closer and use what he's got, but he's giving Spinks a little bit too much room.
So the countdown then for the end of the third, and it's really been quite a fast start because there's been a fair amount of punches exchanged here for big fellas. So have a look at some replay there, Jim, when Cooney looked as though he was having a bit of success there.
Yeah, well, Cooney should be pleased because he's getting himself into punching range without any trouble. Spinks is not backing off as quickly as we thought he would, so Cooney should be happy. He's getting himself in there, but he just has to get the punches out a little bit quicker and a little bit sharper.
Good hands tight, baby.
So they've just got a little bit of a problem around the right eye, but it's certainly not serious. And there again now the rundown of the punches, and only one punch difference there. I don't know how they come up with that score, but there you are. And into the fourth round. And not a bad start by Gerry Cooney at all, really, considering that ring rust really is having the job shaking off. There's no doubt about that. Timing goes, you can't get it back in the gymnasium. And now Michael Spinks doing what I call his mesmerising stuff. Change his stance a lot now. He really is, I keep on about it, Jim, but he's so confusing to fight, isn't he, Spinks?
Yeah, well, see, he has good reflexes. Either he gets his hands up to block the punch, or he pulls his chin just that fraction away at the last second. But still, Cooney should be happy because he's getting himself into the range where he can do some damage, but his punches aren't getting home cleanly yet.
It looks as though Cooney was calling out there to his trainer, Victor Valli, about something he was a little bit rattled by. Well, Spinks came in the ring with a ruby-studded belt that manager Brooks Lewis had presented him with to say, well, as far as we're concerned, he's still a champion. And in fairness, any unbeaten fighter of his past warrants being called a champion, with or without an official title. There are so many available today. There's Brooks Lewis, Jim, almost like a fairground barker, isn't he? Telling him what he wants to do. Are you really listening to that, you fellas in there, or not?
No, I think the concentration Spinks has, he won't be hearing anything. I think Butch is just enjoying himself. Cooney's not having a bad round here. His left hand in particular is looking a little bit sharper.
So Spinks doesn't mind making Cooney chase him a bit. He figures he's make him run out of gas. He tried that with Larry Holmes, and I have to say it worked to a degree. Towards the end of the fight, Holmes started to flag again before he called on the reserves, and I doubt if Cooney can do that.
This is the best Cooney's looked at in the fight so far. He's trying now to dominate the action.
Spinks is essentially a distance fighter. That's the one thing that you have to respect with him. That old line about it's not over until the last bell really means something to Michael Spinks. And now he's trying, at each end of the round I notice he's putting flurries of punches together. I would have thought it would have suited Cooney for him to stand and open up like that. Well, yeah, there you are. There's a somewhat interesting statistic, and the manager Dennis Rappaport out there, who's complaining to the referee about something.
Now I can show you. Get down and bang with the 2 hands in the belly. 2 hands in the belly. You gotta use the 2 hands. All right, where's the towel?
Well, they've got the swab sticks out there to be used, but there's no damage. Watch the head, says.
I know what I'm doing. I don't ask you guys to. I don't tell you what to do with your fighter.
Watch the jab and get through.
So there you are, the final countdown on that lot there. I don't think, as I said, that we should pay too much attention to that, and the referee didn't pay any attention to Dennis Rappaport's argument there. Said, I don't tell you what to do, don't tell me. And you remember him well, Jim, because he's the man who brought in Howard Davies for you to defeat, and he never stopped moaning about that one. So into the 5th then. And now it's a question of a little bit of punch authority, and on Cooney's part, stamina, which could be lacking, and most, I would have thought will be lacking, because this fellow Spinks can fight all night at a good pace. Now he's starting to stand and trade a bit more with Cooney in the 5th now. He's not going to run quite as much. I say run, in fairness, it's movement with him. He doesn't actually back off, it's all sideways. You can almost feel Cooney saying, if only he'd stand still and let me hit him, Jim.
Yeah, well, Cooney's putting full power into every punch, and if he doesn't get some success, soon he's going to run out of steam, because he really puts full power into every shot. He doesn't really feel his way in at all.
It's constant nagging of punches by Spinks now. It's definitely frustrating Cooney. He's not coping with this too well. So nearly midway then through the 5th round, and Spinks definitely taking over a bit. Big swipes coming in from Cooney. Oh, there they're getting accurate now and repeated. 3 or 4, 5 rights following each other there, and Cooney now, he's not responding at all. And when he went down from that one and looked to the corner as if to say, I don't think I'm that hurt, but I don't fancy this. He's hitting me too many punches and I'm not throwing any back. Swelling around the eyes. Got to stay for the mandatory ain't. Ask if he's all right. I should imagine he hasn't got time to argue now, but I doubt if Spinks is going to let him off the hook at all now. He's just not throwing punches back, Cooney. And that one that didn't even look hard enough for a man of his size to go down on it.
5, 6, 7.
Well, he can't complain. He can't hear that count.
You all right? You know who I am?
Do you know who I am? There's a time for an introduction. So it looks all over by the shouting now, unless he runs out of time as we get the clock coming down for this round. The Spinks will keep going right until he hears that bell, and I think if Cooney lasts out, he's done well, but I doubt if he will. He just isn't throwing punches back enough. He should be showing a little bit more desperation here, and isn't in his retaliation. Referee's got to be looking to get in here, because yes, he's in, and it's all over at the close almost at the 5th round. That's all, Gerry. Taking too many punches, Gerry. And he's not arguing with him either, Gerry Cooney there. He went down with a lot of frustration. They're going crazy, as you would expect. Jim, let's have a look at the replay now.
Well, Cooney's eyes always seemed clear. He seemed physically able to take these punches, but he just had no answer. He wasn't coming back with enough punches of his own to keep him in the fight. He simply had no answer to the speed or the accuracy of Spinks' punches, and when the referee finally ended the affair, it wasn't too soon. That wasn't a particularly hard punch, but he had nowhere to go.
And as we get this close up now, it was almost like Spinks looking to, well, harpoon the big white whale as he goes down. He simply ran out of gas, and I'm afraid a little bit of ambition as well. Well, I wonder if it's the last time we'll see big Gerry Cooney. It won't be the last time we'll see this man.
I knew I had to keep applying the pressure and hit him, and try to hit him at will, at least a few times. And I saw the uppercut. That was a clean shot. So I worked until he couldn't take it anymore. Until Frank Cappuccino saw that he just couldn't defend himself any longer.
Michael, round 4, it looked as though you were more tired than Gerry, yet you come out in the 5th round clubbing him with right hands. How did you get that power?
Well, what happened was, throughout the fight, I was very hyper to going in, and I knew that it would have to be, I didn't know what type of fight to see, to expect out of Gerry because I watched no films. I saw highlights and all that, and it wasn't enough to say what type of styles to go in there. So I thought about Holmes fighting him, and I said, well, I don't move like Holmes, but I have my own movement, so I tried to move the way I do, and I saw that I could stand there a little while, then move as he was getting ready to punch, and it worked.
Did he ever hurt you quickly?
He dazed me a couple times to no effect though, just a good shot. And I saw that it was definitely not the best to stay there. I had to change my timing up for Gerry.
Okay, Michael, finally, do you think you sent a message to Mike Tyson tonight?
I guess in looking at a fight like this, it would send a message to everyone that was watching this fight.